I've been wanting to make a video about Wale for a while now, and y'all recent disrespect gave me motivation. I've been a fan of Wale since around 2008 with the mixtape About Nothing, and he's been one of my favorite rappers for the last 15 years. Wale has had a very long and successful career, but whenever people talk about him, I feel like they usually talk about him like he's this nobody, or they talk about him in a jokingly way. Wale comes from the blog era, and if you're old enough, you'll remember that people like Wale, Big Sean, Wiz Khalifa, Kid Cudi, they were looked at as a potential third member to stand alongside J. Cole and Drake, and then the whole Kendrick Lamar thing happened. I don't know if you ever heard of this album called Section 80 or Good Kid, Mad City. All those big three conversations for the other people, those went away pretty quick. Wale was and still should be considered one of the best rappers of his generation, and I feel like during his peak, people appreciated him and recognized him for what he was doing. But today, people sleep on his catalog entirely. If you were there for the mixtapes like 100 Miles and Running, Mixtape About Nothing, a classic, More About Nothing, a classic, 11-1-11 Theory was fire as hell back in high school for Lauren. He has a bunch of great mixtapes. Maybe it's a regional thing because I'm from Virginia, but the same thing with his albums. Attention Deficit was fire as hell, Ambition was amazing. I was never a big fan of The Gifted personally, but the album About Nothing was also amazing. Even his most recent albums, I feel like they were also pretty good, but they just didn't grab the attention of the mainstream. Now me, I don't care if an album is popular or not. If the music is good, the music is good. So I enjoyed For Lauren too, and wow, that's crazy. So in my opinion, Wale has a better discography than a lot of his peers during his era, and people forget, during a majority of Wale's career, he stayed with a hit single. No Hands is a 10 out of 10 song, even with Roscoe Dash Trash Verse. If you wasn't outside back then, you missed out. But come on, man. Diced Pineapples, Bad, On Chill, which might be his most recent hit. I've been saying this for a while now, but for any rapper during that blog era, if you challenge Wale to a versus, y'all remember that? If you challenge Wale to a versus, it ain't gonna be a cakewalk. So Wale, at least in the urban community, Wale stayed with a hit single, and I never looked at Wale as a radio rapper. I looked at him as a good rapper who just so happens to be good enough to make those radio records as well. Songs like 90210, The Girls on Drugs, Legendary, and a lot of my personal favorite Wale songs are good songs that weren't made for the radio. Y'all don't know about Rediscover Me. Y'all don't know about Ice and Rain, The MC. Y'all wasn't there for that. And don't get me started on the fashion impact that this man had on the culture. Wale has always been a sneakerhead, and he's been a major influence in shoe culture. Like, I swear, this man has had every single Nike Foamposite shoe ever created. And he also helped recently promote a new pair in honor of DC. He then recently worked with Nike wearing unreleased shoes that's never been seen before. So Wale is a good rapper that's versatile enough to do any sort of record. Like, I didn't like him signing with MMG, but I get it. And if you were there, you know that was a moment. He has at least one classic project. He has a really good album discography. He's a major influence in shoe culture, and people still don't like him. When it comes to his music, I feel like his voice, the way he flows, the way he enunciates his words, I feel like it's not for everybody. Like, I listen to him a lot, and sometimes the way that he says words and the way that he flows, it can be hard to understand him at times. And then when it comes to being accepted by the masses, I know this is a conversation that a lot of people don't want to have, but it's true. It is harder to be accepted by the masses when you a dark-skinned African nigga. But I feel like the main thing that's holding Wale back is the same thing that's holding a rapper like The Game back. Like, I love The Game. The Game is one of my favorite rappers, but The Game is rarely ever mentioned in certain conversations when people are talking about the greats. And it's not because of his music. People just think he's corny. What is one of the main things that people say whenever they talk about Wale? He's sensitive. I'm a big fan, and even I agree. So I feel like his personality is a big part of why people look at him the way that they do, because Wale, time and time again in his career, seems to get in his own way. Whenever I'm feeling down and I need to get a good laugh, I just go back and I watch the video of Wale on a phone call threatening Complex magazine because they didn't put his album The Gifted in the top 50 for that year.
Well, no, I'm not going to be the person that tells you that. It's not a personal thing, man. It's, you know, we sit.
You mean to tell me Juicy J album better than mine? Is that what you trying to tell me?
Respect, man. I mean, straight up, I really.
Man, you, dog. You know disrespect every time, dog. I swear to God, I come to the office and start knocking niggas the out.
Juicy J didn't deserve that. And Wale is on that album. Wale just seems like one of those people that's never happy. Like, Wale has had such a successful career. He has accomplished way more than a lot of people that came before and after him. And it always seems like he wants more. So much so that his longtime friend and collaborator J. Cole dedicated a verse to him on his song False Prophets, in which I agree 100% with what J. Cole was saying. If you've never heard False Prophets for some reason, check it out. He's also talking about Kanye West. And then Wale responded to False Prophets in a good way, no beef, but he responded to False Prophets in the song called Groundhog's Day, if my memory is correct. Check that out. So Wale, through multiple points in his career, has had moments where people can look at him and say, you're being sensitive, or I'm sure as he would say, passionate. But the moment that he had at the BET Awards the other week did not help his image at all. And I'm saying this as a fan. He looked insane. So Kai Cenat, one of the most popular internet streamers, was streaming at the BET Awards and ran into Wale, and he had no idea who he was. And what makes that even worse is that Kai called Wale Wale, and if you're a longtime fan, you know that is a real full circle moment. But Wale then approached him after the fact, telling Kai that that moment made him look crazy. To me, approaching him after the fact in which you know he didn't recognize you, that makes you look crazy. I am not mad at a 22-year-old Kai Cenat for not knowing who Wale was during a quick 10-second interaction in which they were walking opposite directions. Now, the fact that people told him after the fact and they tried to inform him who that was and he still didn't recognize Wale, to me, that's insane. To say, oh, I'm 22 years old, I didn't know. To me, that's not a valid excuse, especially if you follow hip hop even a little bit. Like, I'm not saying you got to tell me Wale's entire history. I'm not saying you got to rap a Wale verse or nothing like that. But to not know who Wale is at all, that's insane. That situation is just another example of a moment that Wale could have handled better. And for people that don't like him, they're just gonna use that moment and be like, see, he's being sensitive again. I don't know how I feel personally if I would consider Wale a legend of the blog era, but I also wouldn't be upset if somebody told me that he is. Wale is factually one of the most successful rappers of the blog era. Like, if you give somebody like Big Sean or Meek Mill the title of a legend, Wale is a legend. Maybe it's regional bias because I'm from Virginia, but Wale checks a lot of boxes for me. Like, I get a personal connection to rappers is important for some people. So if you don't like his personality, if you think he's sensitive, I get it. But I feel like Wale is underappreciated. Like, have you ever caught a twerk to that song Bait? Man, y'all wasn't outside back then. But thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe if you're new here. We talk about a bunch of different things on this channel. What are your thoughts on this topic? Are you a fan of Wale? Do you agree with me, or do you just not think he's good? Let me know in the comment section below. Love you guys. As always, remember to tell somebody that you love them. Until next time, see you in the next life.